Hey, welcome to the show. We know you want to travel. We want to travel too, believe us. Until that day that we can all get out there safely and comfortably and feeling good about it, we'll continue to bring you amazing destinations from the comfort of your kitchen or your bathroom or your bedroom, wherever you are, I don't care. So tonight we head to my favorite destination, Italy, with Laney Sachs from Hortensia Blue Italian Adventures. So stick around. I'm Janine Queenan, and you have found your way to Janine and Amy's Travel TV Live. And we're glad you're here. Of course, we're always glad you're here. But before we really get started, I have to introduce my co-host, my friend, the one, the only, Amy Coffin-Rylahan. Amy.
That was a hell of an introduction. Thank you, Ethel. No, you're Lucy. Which one am I this week? Am I Lucy or am I Ethel?
You know what? You can be Lucy today.
I can be Lucy today. I got the hair for it, for sure. That's for sure, because I've been camping for 4 days. So happy Thursday, everybody. And my dear, darling friend, Laney, I'm so glad to see your beautiful face. And of course, my sidekick, or her sidekick. We're never really sure, but we're sidekicks together, my dear friend, Janine. So cheers to everybody and to surviving another week in 2020.
Isn't that the truth?
Absolutely. So, I was just going to say, so Laney, we ask every one of our guests, this is the very first question we ask, is when we are through this nonsense of 2020 and we are able to travel again, what will be your first destination that you'll want to go?
What do you think? My first destination without a doubt is Italy. And honestly, this year, 2020 is probably going to be the first year, and I don't know how long, that I won't go unless something happens by the end of the year. Yeah.
That's sad. No. But I'm sure you have seen so many amazing things. And like I said, so anyone who knows me knows that Italy is really my favorite destination. I've had the chance to go a bunch of times, but I really feel like I've just barely scratched the surface of it. I mean, I feel like every time I go, there's something new, something magical. So I'm so excited to hear about all your secret spots and all the places you bring people, because I know that you bring groups. And so I'm dying to hear how that happens. But Italy is so different. All the regions are different. So where do you want to start? Like if someone was going for the first time, where would you tell them to go?
Well, okay, so yeah, Italy is really big. It's 20 regions, and each one is, you could consider it like a different state, but even more different than that. I do think that when people go, they do need to see Venice, Florence, Rome. I mean, honestly, those are iconic world capitals that you do need to see. Having said that, though, that I probably didn't see Rome until maybe my, fourth or fifth trip. But I do think those are the three places you should go. And then from there, there are so many places to go. I mean, there's Tuscany, which is beautiful. I will say that, Americans that we all sort of want to go, or we hear from clients, I'm sure you hear the same, Rome, Florence, Venice, Tuscany, Amalfi Coast, Lake Como. That's sort of, where people go. And then when people go a few more times, they go to some other parts. Because there are so many parts, and each one is so different. And Italy, envisioning it as a boot surrounded by water, so you've got lots of opportunity for beaches and seaside and seafood.
Yeah, I just love it so much. So I'd like to say Jane West says hello, Laney.
Oh, Jane came with me on 2 trips.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, she and her husband, Ron. Yes. Oh, my gosh. Yes.
So if you're watching and you have a question about Italy for Laney, please just pop it below and we'll ask her. And then she'll answer it for you. And also maybe you can give us a like, a love. We would love that too. So you sent some excellent pictures. And I have to say, I want to travel with you because they look like so much fun. So I'm going to throw the first one up and then you can tell me what's going on and maybe tell us a little bit about I know that you bring groups a few times a year. So tell us about that. I'd like to hear about that.
Okay. So yes, I do bring, I plan travel for clients who go on their own, but I do 1 to 2 trips a year. I bring clients to the Prosecco region, which is in Northeast Italy. I bring clients to the Lake Garda region, which is sort of in the more central north part, and also to Sicily. So, and then I also last year had it was a private group for 10 women in celebration of a milestone birthday, and they were all friends, and that was so much fun. So anyway, this picture here, okay, because we're telling the stories. So this picture is from our Prosecco trip, and when we are on our Prosecco trip, obviously we drink a lot of Prosecco, but we also drink Grappa. Because while we are there, we visit the town of Bassano del Grappa, which is where Grappa is from. So when we go to Grappa, Bassano del Grappa, we go to the Poli Grappa Distillery. And the Poli Grappa Distillery has been owned by the same family, the Poli family, since the late 1800s. And after we have this really wonderful tour, and they tell us all about Grappa, and Grappa, just so people know, is made from the skins of the grape. So, you know, nothing is wasted here, and it's distilled sort of like a brandy is. Anyway, after we have a really wonderful tour, we hear about the history, they take us through, show us the process. They let us loose in their tasting room, and they have all the different grappas, all the different liqueurs, all the different everything set up all around, and we're just there to have fun. So this picture is after that. And they had some pictures outside, like cutouts of Jacopo Poli, who is now the son who was running the company. And this was so that I don't know if you can see in that picture, there's cutouts of him. So everyone was sort of having fun with our group photo, keeping him in it. So
that's right. You guys dug into the Grappa a little bit too, but that's fun though.
Yeah.
So you go to the Prosecco region. Is that an unusual place to go? I mean, do a lot of people go there, or is it kind of off the beaten path a little bit?
You know, for us, it would be off the beaten path. It is it's only about an hour northwest of Venice. So you would fly into Venice and you could go from there. For clients to go, it's a great day trip or 2 days. So if you're in Venice staying in Venice for a few days, you could, have a car drive you up there, and you go visit absolutely spectacular, stunning, gorgeous countryside, and you could, see where Prosecco is made. There's fabulous restaurants. You're out in the vineyards, and the Prosecco Hills are now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So
no kidding.
100%, yeah, it's 100% protected. And it is definitely, if you have time and you're going to Venice, plan a day or two to go up there.
Is there a special food that they pair Prosecco with? Is there anything traditionally that they like to eat, or is it just all the deliciousness? That's it.
Well, there is Prosecco is really considered an aperitivo. An aperitif, you would drink it normally before. You would drink it. Also, you drink it in a spritz with other things mixed with it. It now has become more of a cocktail thing. It wouldn't be typically drunk like we would drink wine with a meal. The foods up there, wow. Lots of, it's probably more of a, technically, really, it's more rice than pasta. Pasta is more Southern Italy than Northern Italy. Obviously, they still, have it. There's some dishes that are more, there's a type of pasta, actually, that's from that town of Bassano. It's called bigoli, and it's like just a long pasta, but it's thick. It's a big pasta, and that's served with a duck sauce, and that's sort of one of the traditional dishes there.
Great. So Carmen is watching from Marwood, Indiana. Do you know Carmen? Or she just come by to say hello?
No.
Hi, Carmen. How are you? Thanks for joining us tonight. That's awesome.
So I'm going to throw a picture in that might be controversial, but I'm doing it anyway. Tell us about this, baby.
So this is La Fontana delle Tette, which is the fountain of the tits. Sorry, and it's in Treviso, which is it's up in that region, in that region of Italy as well. And the story with the fountain is that back in the 16th century, there had been a very serious drought, and after the drought was over, the governor deemed to have a marble statue made that out of one that would flow water. And after it was originally built, all of the following years, when there was a new mayor elected, there would be a big celebration, and white wine would come out of one and red wine would come out of the other. Now, this one is actually just from the 1980s. The original one is like right around the corner behind plexiglass, but it's there. But can I tell you, when I take groups and some of the pictures that the men do with that statue, I couldn't send you those pictures, Janine.
No,
that just would not go over.
Probably not be appropriate.
They don't want you to. At the time, they're like, isn't that funny? Then afterwards, they're like horrified. So let me see. I'll throw this one up now. This is another group picture. So where is this? Do you do like a lot of hiking and things like that, or what are you guys doing? Everyone's very excited.
This is Mount Etna in Sicily. And our Sicily trip is a little bit longer. It's 10 days because Sicily, is a pretty big island. When we go to on the Prosecco trip, we stay in one hotel and we do day trips, and that's a week. This for Sicily, it's 10 days, and we travel around because we go all, not all around the entire island, but we cover a lot of it. So Mount Etna is towards the end, and on that day we did go for a hike with a guide, and we I don't like to have boring group photos of when I'm with people. Let's do something. I just stand there and go, let's make it fun. Let's do something.
Right.
And sometimes, the groups just arrange themselves. I don't have to say anything. But the one on Mount Etna, it was, okay, everybody, 1, 2, 3, jump. And we jumped. And what's funny about that picture is we also have our bus drivers in it. The bus drivers right there on the front there. That's Salvo, the front right.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And then we have all the way on the left is our guide. Vittorio, and then the tallest, the highest one jumping. Yeah. That's our photographer, Ellis.
Oh,
and
my God!
Actually, he had a friend that was with him videoing us. He took the picture, but yeah,
So you have a guide with you the whole time? Is it you have somebody with you?
Different guides? So when we are in the Prosecco region, we have some guides. It's a different sort of a trip. Because we're not seeing sights as much as experiencing the food and the wine, which we do also in Sicily. But Sicily we go really deep into Sicily. There's so much history there. There's so much to see. So when we're in Sicily, yes, we have a different guide every day. In the Prosecco, we have guides. I'm trying to, probably pretty much there's somebody every day. Yeah.
So this is in Sicily, correct?
That's in Sicily too. And that's Valley of the Temples.
Wow.
And, let's do a conga line in the Valley of the Temples, right? and why not? Why not?
That's a must-see thing, right?
Absolutely.
I would think so too.
Absolutely. And when you stand there and you're in front of this Greek temple, and there's a few of them. So the Valley of the Temples has, and that's what it is. There's different, and I don't count, I don't know. I'm going to say there's 5. Big, big thing, big ruin. And it's not even really ruins. It is, but look at that. It's massive, and it's been there, thousands of years. It's incredible.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It always amazes me that so much of that survived, especially through World War II, that someone had foresight, especially like in Rome, and to not, did they have foresight? I don't even know. Did not bomb the heck out of it, so it still exists. I'm like, thank goodness that somebody I don't know who.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a beautiful monastery in Italy that was bombed by the Allies because that's where all the Nazis were hiding out. I'm sure you know the story, Laney. And there's a beautiful monastery in Italy that's on top. As you know, may or may not know, Tim is a huge military history buff. So when we're planning our trip, which we're going to go next year, he keeps saying he has to go to this, and forgive me, I don't remember the name of it, but the Allies just bombed the dickens out of it because they had to break through the line in Italy. And but they rebuilt it to be exactly the way it was when the monastery was initially built, which is really cool. And maybe Laney, you know which I'm talking about, but
I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Totally a military history thing.
Samantha loved trying Prosecco with Laney in Northern
Oh, Samantha. Yes. Samantha and I had some adventure. She did not come on one of the trips, but we traveled together. And we one of the pictures is going to be an adventure that Samantha was with. She'll remember it quite well. But Samantha has been with me a couple of times in Italy.
That's
so
awesome.
It seems to me that you do add a lot of food experiences. So I think, is this olives?
That's olives.
Olives.
That's olives.
You go and you get to sample and see how they harvest, and is that the experience that you put
on? So this is actually near Lake Garda. And I have some friends that have an olive oil mill, olive oil frantoio. So they have I don't know how many acres. I'm going to go with 15 acres of olive trees. You know, some of them are super, super old. And
right here.
They make olive oil. And the olive oil harvest starts pretty much like maybe the last week in October through like the middle of November. And it's a really pretty simple process. The olives are picked and they're pressed and they're bottled. And to be extra virgin olive oil, it has to be done within 24 hours of picking. So these olives are picked and the olive oil is made. And so this is the olive oil coming out. It's bright green. The olive oil is bright green. It comes out. To taste fresh olive oil like that is amazing. It is, if you have a really good olive oil, you know, that's bottled, that's here. I mean, and that's fine because a lot of times you'll get it, you know, pretty fresh. And olive oil, you always want to eat olive oil and drink it fresh. You don't save olive oil, and a good olive oil is going to have an expiration date on it. And you want to make sure it may have a bottle date on it. If it has the date it was bottled, you have 18 months from that. Right. But if it doesn't have a bottle date, so bottom line is don't buy olive oil that doesn't have a date on it, either a bottle date or an expiration date.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea. And I use olive oil in everything.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well, I read somewhere that Americans, almost all Americans use spoiled olive oil. That's like turned because we don't know how to store it. We buy stuff that's been sitting on the shelf forever. And it was in a cookbook that the way to tell is that it smells like crayons. Have you ever heard that? That smells like crayons. If you
bad olive oil smells like crayons?
Yeah, that it's rancid if it smells like crayons.
That would probably make sense. But I will say the very first time that I went and tasted olive oil like that, you know, and I tasted it, and it's really so when you taste olive oil, you go sort of like, I don't know how this is going to work on camera, but you know, like that, and you sort of get it in the back of your throat, and it almost burns a little bit. It's really pretty strong. And when the first time you taste it, you go, wow, like this isn't like anything that we have at home. This is never had anything like this before. But if you can ever go to an olive oil frantoio and have fresh, freshly pressed olive oil, it's such a treat to have to experience that. And that's Samantha amazing. Was there for that too.
Yeah, awesome.
So we're running out of time. So there's a couple of pictures that I really want to talk about. So unfortunately, we have to skip over some. But I
go so fast.
That you make sure that you get to meet local people. Is that what this is?
Yes.
So talk about this fella.
Okay, so this is an experience. This is in Sicily, And actually the guy on the right is one of our guides, and the woman on the left is one of my clients who was with us. And on one day we have a typical day in the life of a Sicilian, and we go to the small village and we visit the cheese shop. We visit the communal bakery. Everyone brings their stuff there to be baked in the ovens. We visit, almonds are very big in Sicily. And we walk into a place and they're peeling and shucking the almonds. And anyway, the townspeople are just sitting around and happy to talk, converse, say hi to any of us. So that's that's
a really great experience. To really understand a place or to really feel like you've visited, to be able to meet somebody, a local person, I think that's excellent. And super fun. So the next picture I'm going to show is not as fun because it is flooding in Venice. So this is really interesting. When was this taken?
So this was, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, and Samantha was with me, and Samantha is my niece, and Samantha at the time was living in Switzerland. So it was really fun to be able to have her come meet me in Italy, and we traveled around. But anyway, really cool. We were going to this was actually pretty interesting because I'm going to say it was 4 or 5 years ago. It was the worst flood. There had been one worse before in the 60s, and then there was this one. But the one they just had in November trumped this one. So anyway, this is actually the 3rd worst one they ever had. But Sam and I knew that we were there. We were there at the beginning of November, which is Acqua Alta. So that's when there is a chance, you hear about the floods, you hear about all this coming. We knew there was a chance of it. So we came prepared. She had taken the train down from Switzerland. So she had her, her high boots and her raincoat and all that. I had brought like garbage bags for the suitcase, a raincoat.
I think you're going to need stilts on. Yeah. Oh, he's gone. Okay, that's okay.
So what happened was we knew that it was coming in, and when we went to sleep that night, we checked. You can check the tides. It was going to happen about 7:15. So we were going to be all ready because we were going to take a train. And at about 6:45, all of a sudden we heard sirens, and we looked out the window, and you could see the water just creeping up from the canal, and the water's coming, the water's coming. And we grabbed our stuff, put our suitcases in the garbage bags, and the hotels along the little alleyways put up these barriers. So the first thing, so the water doesn't get in. So Sam and I, we each have our suitcase, and once you step over that barrier, you're in knee-high water.
Oh my golly.
So I've got my suitcase. She's got her suitcase. She's got her rubber boots. I have leather boots. And we step over. She goes first, and she starts walking, and I step over, and this cold, wet,
dirty
gunk coming in, and it's raining, and Samantha's at the end. And she's going, come on here, lady. Come on here, lady. I'm like, oh my God. It was really pretty.
Going? Where were you going?
We were going to the train station. So anyway, we walked to the end of this, the alley. And then by the time we got up to the steps, we were okay. But when we went to the train station, people are walking around. Their shoes are off. They're drying out everything. People are walking in flip-flops, bare feet, whatever, because it was flooded. So that was then what we saw after it was completely flooded like that. So.
Yeah.
Does that happen all the time, Laney?
So the Acqua Alta season is November, December, maybe into January. Does it happen every year? I'm going to say it does to some extent. It could just be a little bit, just a little. And they put up the main parts of Venice, you're walking on platforms, so you're walking up. But when you're on these little alleyways, you're staying at your charming little hotel down at the end, there isn't anything to walk on.
right?
Yeah.
And you can see where the flooding is. Like, when I've only been there one time, but you can see where the water line is in a lot of the buildings.
Yeah.
It's wild. So we'll keep talking, because I do want to show a couple really nice pictures from some vineyards that you sent. But I think that over-tourism is an issue in Venice, correct? And they've been struggling under the weight of that. And I know that's not what causes it, but what do you think about that? Do you think it will be, I know that they've been trying to address it. What do you think long-term for over-tourism in Venice?
You know, they have been trying, and there has been a lot of graft and fraud with the government, because they have a system that was supposed to be in place 10 years ago that didn't. The last I heard is with this now with COVID, they're able to start to implement it, but I don't know if that's 100% true. I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, if anyone has been to Venice, you saw. I mean, it was the crowds. It was just packed, and there were people that were, coming. It's a living, breathing museum, is what Venice is, and people a lot of people treated it sort of like Disneyland.
Right.
And what they're trying to do now is they will. I mean, obviously there aren't really many tourists there now. Implement some sort of a tax for day trippers. So whether you're coming off a cruise or you're just coming in for the day, there's some sort of a tax you're going to have to pay, because they want people to come, stay, experience Venice.
Right.
Stay overnight. Yeah.
I had also heard, Laney, that cruise ships were no longer allowed to come into. I mean, now this is all pre-COVID, so I know anything that was pre-COVID is completely off the plate now. But my understanding was, because I send a lot of clients to Italy, a lot, and I know that cruise ships were no longer allowed, this at the end of last year, were allowed to come in anymore, because that was 3,000 people coming off, combined with the tourism that was already there. Is that still a thing? Do you know? I know that everything is so weird and wonky, but.
Yeah, they can't dock there anymore. They're docking further, I think it's down is where they're going to dock. People can still come in. They can still come in for the day, but there is going to be some sort of a tax.
A fee, right?
Yeah.
Yep. As there should be. They need to protect that.
Yeah, they do need to protect it. So in our last few minutes, I'm just going to throw a few more pictures up, but why don't you tell us about the trips you have planned? I know you still have a couple on the books, and when is that happening? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, so I have, you want to hear about that, Chip?
Yeah, look at this.
Go for it.
Well, I'll tell you about the trips first. So
Okay.
I have these were all postponed from this year. So the dates of the Prosecco trip are September 12th to the 18th of 2021. And you fly in and out of Venice, and we take care of you from there. We pick you up, and we spend days in the, we spend a day in the vineyards. We spend a day at a cooking class. We take the boat down the Sile River into the Venetian Lagoon, and we stop at Murano, and we have dinner in Venice. We go to Bassano del Grappa, and we go to the market there, and we go to see, and we go to Poli and drink Grappa. We go to the town of Treviso. We go to Buffalo Mozzarella. It's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing trip. And we stay in the town of Oslo, which is super charming. It's voted, one of the, they have the best small towns in Italy. And then the dates of the Sicily tour are October 12th to the 21st. Oh, back to the Prosecco tour. One of the highlights, and there's lots of highlights, but we are going to see Andrea Bocelli, who will be live in concert in the piazza in the beautiful, charming town of Marostica. Yeah,
Wow.
It's pretty spectacular.
I almost forgot.
Yeah, I almost forgot.
By the way.
And by the way, so that's a really cool experience. He actually was there a few years ago when we were there, and thinking he's never, ever, ever going to come here again the same week that we're going to be here, and here he is. So anyway,
oh my golly, Laney.
And then the Sicily dates are the 12th to the 21st, and that's 10 days. And we travel all around Sicily, and that is absolutely amazing. Sicily is fascinating. It's the culmination of so many cultures coming together. That is an incredible, incredible trip. So I'd love to have people join me. We have so much fun. You have time, you have together time, and you have time on your own.
Yeah, I really, really would like to visit Italy. I mean, not Italy, Sicily.
Sicily.
That sounds fabulous.
Laney, is Sicily one trip? I mean, would you have to do it justice just in one trip?
Do it one trip. Yeah. To try to combine it. It's two. So Sicily technically is the size of the state of Vermont,
Okay.
Square mileage wise or whatever. And, if you think about it, so from one end of Sicily to the other, so from Catania to Poli, it's about a 3-hour drive, but you have north, south, and you have the seaside, you have the mountains, and there's islands, and there's so much to see. There's so much history.
And how are the roads? Is it hard to get around, or are the roads?
So we're like really running out of time here, aren't we, Janine?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Take a question and then tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, they can find, but I will say, one of my trips, I drove 600 miles in Sicily.
Holy cow!
Yeah. You need to. I don't want to say you need to like to drive, because I don't like to drive, but that's the easiest way to get around. So either you drive yourself or you have somebody drive you. So I wanted the full-on experience of driving myself. Okay, so you can find me at www.ortensiablu.italianadventures.com. ORTENSIABLU, ItalianAdventures.com.
And what does that mean, by the way?
Hortensia means hydrangea. Hortensia blue is blue hydrangea.
Oh.
Yes, my favorite flower.
My favorite too. Hold on, I have to put this in. Wendy said, Laney's small group trips are absolutely amazing. So we know that to be true. So
she's been on too.
Give it a go. So thank you everyone for stopping by. We'll be back next week with another one of my favorite destinations, Ireland. We're super excited. Thank you for coming on.
Very, very excited. Laney, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
So we can't wait to get back out into the world. We know brighter days are ahead and just on the horizon. So keep dreaming about travel and find joy close to home. Thanks, everybody. Good night.